You'd think a franchise that hasn't seen a release in more than 10 years would be dead in the water hype-wise, but audiences proved this theory wrong with a huge amount of expectation as the second movie of the Avatar franchise gets ready to drop this December. With critics raving about it and a projected $500 million opening weekend, we know you're all waiting for the scoop on the franchise's future. First, when should we expect to take a trip to Earth? One of the most interesting things about the Avatar franchise is that each film will be set in an entirely new locale, as it is visited by the Sully family. This not only means that Cameron is able to flex his mastery over visual effects in a brand new way each time, but also that, thematically, a whole new bunch of stories opens up when you have the family navigate different places with different cultures. Now, one location that fans have been wondering about from the minute that the sequels were announced is Earth. After all, would the franchise really be complete without a trip back to Jake's home planet to bring everything full circle? Well, fans can finally relax, as James Cameron has confirmed that audiences will indeed be visiting Earth, and reportedly final part of the franchise in order to do so. The visionary director confirmed the setting in the news that is gonna be a site for Neytiri to visit, bringing her in touch with her husband's culture, just as he came in touch with her way back when the first movie was released. Next, returning earlier might be a better idea for the franchise. The thing is, some fans aren't too happy with the idea of waiting all the way till the 5th movie to see Earth, and they may just have a point in that regard. After all, that 6-year wait might just break the continuity of the single biggest theme that Cameron is trying to build up to with these movies. From the very first Avatar movie, there's been a very clear environmentalist message, one that revolves around how people are kind of pretty terrible at taking care of their own planet, which is exactly what leads them to need to colonize Pandora. Now, we'll probably see more of the colonization theme as the Na'vi go up against humans in the sequels, but we think it would hit hardest on a trip back to Earth, one where we could easily contrast the difference between how the humans treat their planet in comparison to the Na'vi on Pandora. Not only that, but having Neytiri visit Earth can help her and Jake's children learn about parts of Earth's culture that aren't all that bad, introducing a whole new side of the universe for them. Having the kids learn about the other half of their culture could also bring the whole Avatar story full circle in the most satisfying way possible, learning that not all humans are as evil as the colonists that they are used to. Coming up, the wait between movies is about to get much shorter. All this is well and good, but it's going to be a pretty tall order keeping hype up if the wait between each Avatar movie stays as long as it did between the first two parts. After all, some of us will have snow-white hair by the time Part 5 comes out if they keep going at this rate. Thankfully, Cameron has confirmed that this won't be the case. With each movie in the franchise now set to come out in 2-year intervals, that means the third part is gonna drop in 2024, much sooner than even the most optimistic of fans were expecting. Why then was there such a long wait between the first two parts, to the point where no one actually believed that the sequel was ever going to come out? Well, that would be because of the super unconventional way that Cameron decided to plan the movies out. Now, most directors look at a franchise one movie at a time, but not this guy. As soon as the first movie came out, Cameron decided to get the script for each of the sequels ready, refusing to get any part of the screenplay done until he had a full series of finished, edited scripts lying in front of him, detailing the journey he wanted the franchise to take from start to finish. Imagine having that much confidence in the strength of your work.
When Avatar came out, there were 6,000-ish digital 3D screens in the world.
Sure.
There's now 120,000 3D-enabled digital screens in the world.
Right.
Following that, why the wait was a good idea. Thankfully, that might just have been the idea that makes Avatar something truly special. According to the director, the idea behind this was to make sure that each actor knew the full length and breadth of their character arcs, and how their characters would influence the universe of Pandora for years and years to come. This kind of roadmap would help each actor fully immerse themselves in and understand their characters. Besides this, the famous Oder also cited logistical reasons for this decision. Since the second movie is introducing the children of the Sully family, there needs to be a way to keep the actors' ages consistent. After all, one big issue with using child actors is that they can potentially look completely different between movies, depending on how long it takes for the films to come out. It'd be kind of jarring to see the younger Sully kids suddenly grow a foot and look completely different between two movies that are supposed to be close by together in the timeline. Cameron has managed to circumvent this with his script writing technique, as the films can now be shot one after the other, or at the same time, as is happening with the sequel and the threequel. This maintains a lot of consistency that might have otherwise shattered the all-important sense of immersion for audiences. Up next, Cameron builds hype for the fourth part. It's always fun to see directors hype for their own movies, and few directors have been as excited for the future of their franchises as James Cameron has been for his favorite pet project. The director has been giving out information on the fourth part like candy before the sequel has even come out. In fact, he even went as far as to talk about the reaction that the studio executive had when he finally sent over the script for part 4, sharing a response that was pretty much just one very pleased expletive. Clearly, there's there's something special brewing up for the fourth part that Cameron can barely contain himself from telling us all about. In terms of further details, Cameron has already hinted at the idea that each part of Avatar will explore an entirely different culture, with potential hints of each cultural practice being given in the titles of the movies. Speaking of titles, we even have a very tentative one of the fourth part. Potentially, it could be called Avatar: The Tolkien Rider. The speculation on The Way of Water is the name for the sequel was spot on, so this could be pretty true as well, giving us a slight hint as to what aspects of Pandora's culture we might be experiencing next.
Hopefully the show can create some kind of a bond, a compassionate bond with them. Because we have to protect them. We have to help them survive.
Now, The Way of Water is already a hit with critics. We'll be honest, we were pretty skeptical about how good The Way of Water might be. Development hell is a terrible place for movies to be, and it looked like the Avatar sequel was very firmly in development hell, with no news of its release in sight for years. On top of that, even if the movie was to come out, there's no way that it could possibly be worth all that wait, right? Well, we're very happy to report that we were completely, totally wrong. In the wake of the movie's release, critics who have already seen the film have swarmed social media to repeat the same single message: watch this movie. Praise has been coming in for every aspect imaginable. The story is being called revolutionary, the action sequences exhilarating, the practical effects jaw-dropping, the music masterful, and the characters satisfying and likable. Above everything else, however, each and everyone has focused on how this is one of the single most gorgeous movies that has ever been put to VFX, even topping the eye-popping first part. The last bit is exactly what fans have been praying for since the film was announced. Over the years, more and more audiences have become wary of CGI and visual effects in films, with studios being overworked, understaffed, and underpaid to put out work that's been, in a word, pretty subpar. In a world where we've seen debacles like Love and Thunder, it's nice to see that we can still get some good visual effects. Finally, all the details for the third part. Well, now that we have established that the sequel has been absolutely brilliant, what's the scoop on part 3? Besides the tentative 2024 release date, first, just like part 4, speculation might be leading us to a potential title here, with a 2018 BBC News report calling it Avatar: The Seed Bearer. The 2024 release date seems to be pretty solid, given that actor Sam Worthington confirmed that, according to him, about 90% of the film was done by November 2022. Pretty promising stuff. In terms of the cast, it seems that the entire Sully family is primed to make a return, alongside Sigourney Weaver, Kate Winslet, and Stephen Lang. Some potential new faces we're going to see include David Thewlis in an as-of-yet unconfirmed role, Michelle Yeoh, Una Chaplin, and this one is going to be a real kicker if it turns out to be true, Vin Diesel. Seeing Groot hanging out in Pandora should be pretty fun, if only for the memes. Cameron has, of course, made sure to caution fans over how many of these movies we can expect to see now. After all, it really depends on how well they do at the box office at the end of the day. However, given that a record-breaking number of butts are projected to be in the seats for Part 2 alone, we're sure that the franchise is going to be able to keep up the momentum for a threequel. There you have it, folks. That's all the news from Pandora we have for you today. Are you excited about the future of the franchise? What kind of new locations are you hoping to see in future parts? If you enjoyed our content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification icon for more. See you all next time.